DBS Plays. Hey folks, welcome back to DBS Plays. I know I haven't done this in a while, but hey, I'm not playing a Steam game this time. Not that that really matters all that much, but yeah, today I'm going to be playing some good old Sonic Advance, which it's been a little while since I've played this this game here. I think I played it one time on this channel. I could be wrong. It could have been another channel. I've had so many channels and different things, and just, you know. So I just decided to... Honestly, I started this because I was like, you know what? I need a video on my channel. Like, even though it doesn't matter, even though I say I'm gonna do it anytime. At the time I'm recording this, it's the 29th of February of 2024. Let's see here. Okay, I got it on what I want. Yeah, so I just decided, well, I'll do something for this. So I just decided, hey, well, I'll just play some Sonic Advance. It's really great that the sound is slightly off, but you know, I'm using an emulator, by the way. Wait. Okay, I did the thing wrong. No, that's good. Oh, I'm off to a great start. Okay, hold on. Up, right, down, right, left, right, R, right, there. I think I did it right. If I didn't, whatever. It's whatever. Okay, it's whatever. There's like a cheat you can do to have tails by your side. I may have already been getting it right and I wasn't hearing the ring. I don't know. But yeah, in case you're wondering, I am playing this off an emulator on the Wii. If you're wondering why I'm not doing it on the computer, well, I don't care. I just want to do it on the Wii. I want to use a more authentic controller, even though it's not, you know, a GBA. It's, you know, you could play GBA games via the GameCube, and well, anyway. But yeah, the only thing right now is that you can't is that the sound is slightly off, and that's gonna probably bother me a little bit. But if I don't pay attention too much, it won't be too bad. I may be looking back and forth to my TV. I don't know. I'm hearing the sound through my TV, since the thing I'm using is, you know, it's going through both the computer and the TV. But yeah, it's been a few years since I've played through this game on the channel. I mean, I've played it in more recent years. I don't know why I downgraded it like that, but I got hit anyway. This is a well, it's like before. I haven't played. I've already played through this version, so I've already got everything. But I just want to play through. I mean, it's not like this game has that much of a story anyway. This was, for those who don't know, this was my very first Sonic game I ever owned. I quite enjoy it. I still debate if it's my favorite Sonic game or not, or my favorite Sonic Advance game. No, it's not my. It wouldn't be my favorite Sonic game, but it would be. It's up there somewhere. But I have to debate on which Sonic Advance game is my favorite. But yeah, so, well, anyway, yeah, I just decided to pick this up and play it today, you know. It's just, ow. If I could get my train of thought here, let's see here. I'm gonna get me enough rings to yeah, to get a life. I'll probably just talk about things, and well, you know how my Let's Plays usually go. If I can barely concentrate on things, then I can you know. Oh, there we go. Already losing my train of thought. It's gonna be really annoying to hear this back in the editing, or if I hear this back in the editing, it's like where I'm like, I know what I'm trying to talk about, but I wasn't realizing it there. It's so irritating. If you have your own Let's Play channel or series or whatever, you know how it is, or you might know how it is. Yeah. So yeah, good thing, like, yeah, there's not really, I mean, there is a story here, but it's just, like, very minimal. Definitely takes a backseat to the game. And I'm perfectly fine here at all, never mind. So, I think I actually have yet to actually play this game with anybody, because even back whenever I was just exclusively doing, or when I was because back when I started my Let's Play channel, it was originally called Untitled Team Gaming. It went through a few name changes, but it's currently sitting at Masters of Playing Game X, or Mach GX. And that's when I went back to just having it. I was debating on putting this series on, putting DBS Plays on the channel, on that channel, just to have more on there. I was like, nah, I just kind of decided to, at least for now, keep DBS Plays on here. So what I'm doing now is, so anyway, but even whenever I was we were doing Untitled Team Gaming, I had single with friends, as in like a single player game with while playing it with friends, or family, you know, at this point too, with my brother. Ah, shoot. The thing is about the whatever we were doing on Untitled Team Gaming even back then. Whenever I would start playing this game, like I'd call it just to have a Let's Play by myself. I'd call it portable play. So any portable game would just be alone. You know, no one else around. It would just be me. So yeah, I have yet to actually play this game with other people. If you're wondering why I'm not doing, like, I still have my cartridge for this game, like the original cartridge for this game. I still have that. My very first, like I said, my very first Sonic game. If you're wondering why I don't still, like, why I'm not using the GameCube to play actual, like, actually use that in the Game Boy player, well, that's because I don't have a GameCube or a GameCube player anymore, so I'm just using the Wii, because I have a hacked Wii, so which sounds really bad in some ways, but anyway, so I'm just playing this through the Wii that's hacked. Which honestly, I remember whenever I was trying to hack the Wii, like I got a Wii just so I could get it hacked, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna figure this out on my own, or, you know, figure out how to do this stuff. So I was gonna get a friend to do it. He told me the basics, and we just never got around to it. And I used to go to this place he used to work at, and then he didn't work there anymore. So I couldn't really, I mean, I could ask him, but like, it was just easier to communicate through going to the store, and then, but like, you know, he stopped working there. That's fine. So I was like, okay, I'll try it on my own. Hopefully I won't screw anything up. And believe it or not, to me, it was like, wow, I figured this out. I mean, I had to look it up on YouTube and stuff how to do it. But it was actually not that hard. It was actually not that bad. Like I thought it was gonna. The only thing is there's still certain games and systems that I don't know how to get running very well on here, or running at all for that matter. Even if I follow the steps, it's like something is different, and it's like So like I tried to get GameCube games working on here, and it was really hard, and try to get Wii games, try to do some certain things to like copy the Wii games on here as like an option for that, but it like didn't work all the way. It was just weird, so I just kind of gave up on it for now. But anyway, I was able to get, you know, Game Boy Advance games. I was able to get Game Boy Advance games, and I'm gonna look at my bigger screen here because the frame rate's better on here. Like I'm not really a frame rate nut. It's just once you get used to 60 FPS, or I guess this is running at 60 FPS. At least when you play it normally, which is what I'm looking at right now. Normally when you play it, it runs at 60 FPS. Normally I'm just like, I get used to games, but I will admit I've been playing so many 60 FPS games that it's a little hard to go back to like at least a previous version of a game. So, you know. But anyway, so I was just, yeah, I was just losing my train of thought like I usually do here. But to give a subject, I know back when I was doing a lot of these Let's Plays, I still kind of do it time to time. But whenever I do these Let's Plays, anytime I'd bring up Sonic, I would bring up Sonic in some way and just complain. Like, I would just complain. Because I started this, like, me and my friends, Corey started this back in, started doing Let's Plays back in 2015 or 16. I think 16. I could be wrong on that. I have to look back. Could have been 15. So we started that, and there would be a lot of times where, yeah, that's one thing about these 2D. A lot of the 2D games, but like a lot of these GBA, like the advanced games, it's a lot of like bullcrap kills like that. For some reason, like they don't just like push you into. They don't just push you into something. All they do is just kill you, even if it's like. Even if it seems like it's completely unfair. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of times where it feels unfair. But anyway, so there's a lot of times where I would complain about how people, well, not about Sonic, about the criticisms of Sonic. Because I feel like around that time there were so many channels just ranting about Sonic games after the Genesis days, and talking about how Sonic died, he was never good in 3D, and blah 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 blah. and of course I followed through, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna complain about these complainers. Because there's a lot of it that was undeserved, and there was a point around that time where I would just defend quote-unquote bad Sonic games. And I may make a video on this sometime. I don't know. But, let's see. Hold on. See if I can do this right. Yeah. So I'm trying to get up there. There we go. But, I would complain about, you know, people who complain about Sonic. And like not necessarily everyone who complains about Sonic. It's more like just the people who overly criticize anything after the Genesis days. And I felt like I had to defend these games. There's Disney World back there. No, I don't know. I felt like I had to defend a lot of the Sonic games, even ones I had been critical of in the past. I felt like I was just like, you know what, dude, This game is not bad. I was basically making it sound like I like the games. Like, I did like some of the game. I do like some of the games that people have criticized. Shadow the Hedgehog, you know. But, as a big example. But I was starting to say, like, Sonic 06 wasn't bad, or wasn't, you know, which I still think it's not bad. It's just, well, it's not good either. But I have always said that, like, it's not a good game. It's just not a bad one either. It's not nearly as bad as people have made it out to be, is where I was getting at. Like, I still think calling it one of the worst games of all time is very unfair and, like, way too exaggerated the problem. They exaggerate the problems way too much. But, like, all you would ever see criticizing that game was, like, the kissing scene and the fact that Sonic was, like, walking up the slope, which I have yet to actually experience firsthand. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I've seen it, but it feels like you kind of have to try and let it happen. So, that's what it feels like a lot of those glitches are. You have to try and let them happen. That's what it feels like, anyway. But, like, a lot of these games, like I was defending Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. I still think it's not one of the worst games of all time. But in hindsight, yeah, it isn't a good game. It's not a good game. It is very buggy. It is very unfinished. But it was also like they were also saying like all these other games were bad, so I couldn't trust anyone really on like reviews of, you know, I have my own opinions and stuff. I'm not gonna, you know, obviously, you know. But anyway, I skipped a checkpoint. Hopefully I won't have to, you know, do it again, or, you know. Anyway, yeah, I just felt the need to defend all these Sonic games, and I may have overdone it. I may have overdone it with, like, defending them, because they don't deserve all the praise I was giving it, but they don't deserve all the hate that a lot of others on the internet was giving it either. As much hate as it got. Saying you don't like it, that's fine. But calling some of the stuff like some of the worst in gaming and all that stuff, no. That's where I was at. The closest thing I would say that it was more justified and people hating it would be like Sonic Freeriders. I feel like that's not completely the fault of the game. I mean, it is, but like at the same time, it was a Kinect. There were almost no good games on that thing you know, where you have to have the Kinect to play them. And that was just one of the worst games. I would say it's one of the worst Kinect games. Obviously, like, the graphics and the art style and stuff was fine. Like, stuff outside but, like, when you actually tried to play the game, that's when it was terrible. And then the story was terrible, too. That was when they started the cast of like, the new cast, like, the cast we have today, basically. It's not the complete cast, but, like, Sonic being voiced by Roger Craig Smith. That's where it started. So that's where it started, you know. Which I don't mind that cast. Like, really, I don't mind at least most of the cast of like the newer Sonic cast. I don't mind. Like, Roger Craig Smith does a good job at voice acting and all that. He's a funny guy. He's a pretty cool guy. Seems like, at least in terms of, you know, what I've seen, what I've heard. But like, I just think it's the direction they took it. Like, obviously, back when these games are starting to get all kind of, you know, not as good. I was just like, you know, obviously I was like, oh, these voice actors, but really it was the writing and the direction they were given. So I still think like either Jason or Ryan Drummond Jason Griffith or Ryan Drummond or one of those are my favorites. And you know, obviously, I kind of grew up playing the adventure era. I mean, this is technically kind of in the adventure era. It came out the year after Sonic Adventure 2, but it came out the same year as Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. In fact, these games connect to each other on the GameCube and GBA stuff. So I think that so I might have a little bit of a bias there. It might be a little bit of I grew up in that time, so maybe that might be part of the reason I prefer one of their voices. I think it's just maybe it's partially because I just associate them with some of my favorite games. And that's one thing I think about whenever it comes to these people who complained about everything after the Genesis Sonic days, is that it felt like they were just well, this wasn't my childhood, so I am going to criticize it. I think they're all bad, and it's your childhood? Well, too bad. It's not my childhood, so I'm going to overly criticize it. And these YouTubers who grew up in that time got big, and they would start criticizing good Sonic games, such as the adventure games. I mean, you didn't really have as many criticizing the adventure games. Maybe Adventure 1, but you didn't really have as many criticizing Adventure 2 that much. You had some, but basically they were saying oh, 3D Sonic is not good, only 2D Sonic good, and only in the Genesis days. So you had crap like that, and then I think what was also really irritating was that there was a lot of fans who never even played these games who would just listen to these YouTubers and oh, so they're bad. Well, I'm going to criticize anyone who I've had firsthand someone who who was just some reason added me to a group chat of people I didn't know. And I was talking with someone else, and someone else agreed with me that Sonic was great. And then this person, who I don't even know if she's ever played a Sonic game, she was obviously on the younger side, and she was like, "Don't you guys know that Sonic used to be good and now isn't?" But I could tell in a way it was just she probably hadn't played. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but she probably hasn't played a Sonic game before, or she probably didn't at that time, or only tried one once or something. Whatever the case, I'm not trying to assume this, but I'm not. It seems like it. I'm not confirming it's the case, but it seems like she'd never played a Sonic game, or barely touched a Sonic game. So it was just, it was kind of irritating because you had a lot of people like that. And at the time, at least, not even giving a Sonic game a chance, they would just side with their favorite YouTuber and say, "Oh, we're crap. We're with you. I think that Sonic is not good," and And I think the thing that made it extra irritating was because these YouTubers were big, that meant potential marketing and money for Sega, so it seemed like they were just catering to them. It seemed like they were catering to the ones where they only thought the Genesis ones were good, so they pushed classic Sonic so hard. It got me resentful of the Genesis games. And I don't even think, I never really thought that the Genesis games were bad, but I started to say Sonic 2 was, because a lot of these people would say, well, Sonic 2 is the best Sonic, which I don't agree with. It's a good game, but I don't agree with it, and but because they were saying all that, I was like, I think that Sonic 2 is just okay. It was me exaggerating, me saying that I think it's a good game, but I don't think it's as good as you guys say it is. But I was starting to say that Sonic 1 was better than Sonic 2, and Sonic 1 and 3 and Knuckles were better than Sonic 2. Which I look at it now and I'm like, you know, my opinion has changed where I'm just like, yeah, Sonic 2 is better than Sonic 1, but I still like Sonic 3 and Knuckles better. Which I get it. Sonic 2 introduced a lot of things that the future Sonic games would carry on to do, such as suspend dash and, you know. But I still don't think it's a masterpiece. I still think it's a good game, but that's it. And I think it helped Sonic get his feet on, you know, get going and all that. Then you have these big companies like IGN. Like, I realize now that they're mostly probably just trying to cater to what was big at the time, and it was really big at the time to just mock Sonic at every turn. I'm really glad we're mostly past that. You still got these stubborn people who were, who would be like, "Well, no, I still think that he's bad, or, you know, he's still bad because I say so," you know. But like, thankfully those numbers have dwindled. They're not as big as they used to be. Or the ones that have just kind of moved on from talking about Sonic. Oh, and these games right here also love their bottomless pits everywhere. Like, a lot of these Sonic games have always had bottomless pits, but man, they really took advantage of the bottomless pits here. And the excessive use of enemies in places they don't belong. Anyway. So, like, and like, there's people still kind of do this, but like, there are people who would like criticize things in Sonic that they wouldn't be as harsh about in other games. And it was just like, why? Also, why did that happen? But yeah, they would criticize things like certain glitches or certain things that would happen in like in other games as well. But like, if other games happen, it was like, well, that's kind of bad. But like with Sonic, it was like, oh, this is the worst thing. Sonic is dead. So it was just ridiculous. People were very unfair with Sonic. So I guess at the time, and again, it felt extra irritating. It felt like Sega was listening more to them than they were to like the fans that actually still give Sonic a chance. Even if they end up not liking a game, they always have hope. We always have hope that there will be a good Sonic game, another good one, and like, it was a miserable time after Forces came out. That was a miserable time because Forces, not a bad game, but it was extremely disappointing. It was an extremely disappointing game, and of course it came out the same year as Sonic Mania, where all the people were like, "This is the best Sonic game ever. See, this proves that you have to not play. You know, this game proves." So it actually got me to resent Sonic Mania, even though I didn't think that game was bad. I do still think it's kind of overrated, but like Sonic, it was such a miserable time because, again, it got me to resent the Genesis games, even though I still think those are good games. I think Sonic 1 is okay, but like Sonic, it was a good start. But, you know, it got me to resent Sonic 2 because Sonic 2 was associated, like, a lot of people who overly criticized Sonic were the ones who were saying, like, that was their favorite game. It's either up or down or something, like the way you're... There we go. Yeah, in the first game, only Sonic and Amy could ride the rails. For some reason, Tails and Knuckles couldn't. But then they eventually... But, like, it's kind of hard to do anyway. So... yeah. Like, that was a miserable time. And then the movie came out. The first movie came out. The theatrical one. And it... Not like... I was fully expecting this. I was fully expecting that even if the movie was good, that you know, these same people would like say it's terrible simply because of Sonic and because it was also a video game based movie. And honestly, there are quite a bit of terrible video game based movies, but there are some that are actually good. But they get criticized simply for being a video game based movie because they say like a lot of them are bad, so this one's bad too. So I fully expected the movie to do terrible, which it almost did, because it probably would have failed if they had kept that old design. So thankfully they changed that. I probably would have seen it anyway, which would not have helped Sonic's case. But the movie came out after the redesign. It came out. It did well, so well that it at the time became the highest grossing video game movie of all time. And it essentially saved Sonic. It basically saved Sonic. Like, in terms of popularity and stuff. Like, Sonic was not dead, but he was definitely struggling because of the over criticism, people listening to those other over criticisms. But the games were admittedly not doing very well. They were not doing so hot. They were the quality had dipped, and like I said, the games I realize now that the games I had defended back then, some of the games I still don't like them as much. I still think it's justified in criticizing them. I just thought the criticism was way too much. Like I said, Sonic 06, not one of the worst games of all time. I think it's still pretty far from being one of the worst games of all time. Oh, that's cool. I still think it's far from being one of the worst games of all time. And also, what am I gonna say here? It's far from being one of the worst games of all time, but it's still not a good game. I still think people are justified in saying it's a bad game. But calling it one of the worst is not... that was way too exaggerated. That's a huge exaggeration of the problems in that game. And there were also like a lot of things where they were saying like Sonic and his stupid friends. Like there was a big thing on that saying Sonic and his stupid friends. So Sega like pushed away from having Sonic's other friends around, or being all that useful, and that was irritating because, I mean, here's the thing. Oh shoot! I didn't think that was gonna work. Well, yeah, special stages. I already got all the emeralds in this playthrough though. But anyway. Yeah, that was also the thing. Sonic and his stupid friends. And when there was absolutely nothing wrong with Sonic and his quote-unquote stupid friends, the only thing wrong was Sega mistreating them. I mean, there's been so many iterations of Sonic, you know, it seems like there's not really a right way to do it anymore, but, failure! I forgot how you're supposed to do that correctly. But anyway, so yeah, it was an irritating time, but thankfully those years are behind us. I'm able to look more realistically at the games that I defended and be like, okay, yeah, these weren't as good as I was making them out to be. I still think they're not as bad as others have made it out to be, but they're not... There we go. Oh shoot. Probably gonna fail this, but we'll see. Oh no, I did. This is the... Hold on. I don't want to jump to conclusions yet, but this was the first time I have ever done this challenge without using save states. The only reason I was able to get... In fact, the only reason I was able to get the Emerald before, like, I was able to get Super Sonic before The only way I was able to get Supersonic before, on my actual Game Boy Advance cartridge, was because I used cheats. And the way I was able to get it before on here, like on not with cheats, was save states. So I would like save it when it got to a certain point, which I still do with the old Sonic games, with the Genesis Sonic games, because those get ridiculous. Like Sonic 2 has one of the worst. That's the one they use the most, but that has one of the worst special stages. One of, not the worst. This is Knuckles if he peed his gloves. No, he... Yeah, this is like a random fight here. And of course they think it's Knuckles unless you use Knuckles, and he's like, wait. Let's see here. But like, here's another thing about the at that time, when it was big to make fun of Sonic, when it was just like a huge thing to do. I mean, at the time, everyone was just like, oh, everyone who likes Sonic are autistic furries who were either that Sammy who turned out to, you know, Sammy who made that video of the "you frickin' fricks," and Chris Chan. That's what people acted like every Sonic fan was. Which I understand my case was not helped by the fact that I actually do have autism, but like, a lot of these bigger YouTubers will be like, yeah, Sonic bad, look at this Sonic game, people like it? Oh, you're dumb, this is bad. And then, and of course Sega was like hiring like Aaron Hansen or the Game Grumps and stuff to do stuff for official Sonic stuff. And of course Aaron has claimed that he loves Sonic, but the way he loves Sonic is not the same way that a lot of fans are going to agree with him on. He loves him ironically. Like he loves playing. He says he loves like playing terrible games, so he plays Sonic and it's just like, but this isn't a terrible game, you know. But anyway, and he's talked about before about how he used to get hired for that stuff, but now he doesn't because a lot of fans complain saying, why are you putting him in this official stuff when he clearly hates Sonic. And I hate this. I hate doing this, like, because you go back and but anyway, also it's funny, I've always gotten through this level pretty fast. I think there's only been like one or two times where I've actually remembered, oh yeah, the countdown timer. It's counting down, not counting up. But anyway, so so you had all of these bigger YouTubers at the time that would overly criticize Sonic. You know, you got all this stuff, and then as Sonic got bigger, which was sometime after the movie, as people were like, hey, Sonic actually wasn't that bad when he did this. When you got the Defenders, you know, I felt less and less the need to actually start defending Sonic as much, because like, hey, you got people doing this. I still feel the need to defend, like, somewhat defend Shadow the Hedgehog, but even that's gotten a lot more fans. So some of these bigger name YouTubers were like, actually, these games are actually good. I've changed my mind about these games, and it surely is not because they're starting to get bigger again. And I would look, and people will start hating me if I still criticized it, you know. Yeah. And of course, whenever people would criticize Sonic, they would always use Sonic 06 and then eventually Sonic Boom, and then, you know, barely review a game that they're talking about, and then just, you know. I've even seen a joke, like back when Tails' channel was owned by someone else, by Matt, forgot his last name. where he was like, average Sonic review is like, this game not good, shows a little bit of gameplay or something, mentions Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom, blah blah blah, barely mentions the game again, Sonic bad, this Sonic game bad, you know. So, and that was pretty accurate. So, yeah. So at the time, I just felt like I needed to defend Sonic. Because I felt alone. Even though I knew I wasn't alone, I felt alone in defending it. Because I felt like I had to defend the ones that were getting overly criticized when they didn't deserve it. But anyway, those are in the past. Like, you... now you have YouTubers... You have those same YouTubers who will now say, like, oh, actually, I like Sonic. You have IGN who said, well, Sonic was never good. And now they're like, well, you know, actually it is good. Because, I mean, like, when Mania came out, they gave it, like an 8.7 out of 10. Which I think they dropped the point system. Like, essentially, they used to do a system where it felt more like something out of 100 rather than out of 10, because they would have the point thing. Because like 8.7 out of 10 would be like the equivalent of 87 out of 100. To me, anyway. You know what? I don't even need that life. I don't know why I'm trying to get it. Will I hold on to these rings? Well, that answers the question that I just asked as that was happening. But anyway, yeah. I had felt the need. Yeah. Well, you know the story. Anyway, yeah. The people of IGN are now just like, oh well, Sonic actually that was good. And but anyway, YouTubers. You have the YouTubers that still hold on to that. Well, anything after the Genesis days, or only 2D Sonic works. Which is why you've got people of that nature defending Sonic Superstars as much as they do. Even though that game is, you know, everyone has their opinions, but that game's not... It started out good. I admit, it started out good. I had hopes for it. The fact that it was Classic Sonic was fine, because I knew... At that time, I was like, okay, Classic Sonic is not... I was afraid that Classic Sonic was going to take over Modern Sonic, and there was going to be no more Modern Sonic. We were just going to have newer Classic Sonic stuff. Thankfully, that didn't happen, so I wasn't as mad about Classic Sonic being the character for that one. And you know, that was so I was completely fine with it being the classic style, even though it was 2.5D graphics or 3D graphics, you know, 2D game. So I was fine with it, and it started out strong, and then the game just wasn't good by the end. Like I kind of hated it by the end, but I look back, and it's an okay game. It's a very okay game overall, where it has some strong stuff, and then it has a lot of stuff that just pulls it down. But you have these YouTubers that like overly defend the 2D games, and they're saying, "Oh, this is a great game. This is better than Frontiers," and I'm just like, "You look like a fool, brother." Which is what I was kind of hoping for whenever Mania came out. I was hoping that like Forces was going to be better. It was going to be like the better Sonic game that year, so I could be like, "Ha, you're just looking like a fool for calling this game bad." But no. Instead we were anyway, the writing was terrible. To be fair, they were like, here's the thing. The writing of most of the 2010 games, the 2010 games, however you want to say it, was the reason they were the way they were was because they hired people who knew nothing about Sonic. Well, one thing is they wanted to go back, they were trying to change their strategy, and they were wanting to go to the Saturday morning cartoon feel. And, yeah, so, but like they took it way too far, And instead of making it funny, they made it at the time, it did feel like a breath of fresh air from the dramatic Sonic stuff. But I realized, you know, as cheesy as that stuff could get, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that more than the cringy writing of the 2010s overall. And, yeah. They wrote, like the people who wrote it, looked up information of Sonic on Wikipedia. Now, Sega hired these people, but these people could have done a better job at, like, writing. And of course, one of the guys who he started saying, like, some of those Sonic fans are idiots. They don't know how the world works. And I was like, oh, cool. You got me to hate you even more. I'm glad you're gone. I'm glad you were fired from this job. If that was the case. Like, I have no sympathy for you now. And I looked it up, and that guy apparently worked on, like, Happy Tree Friends. Which, at my middle school years, I was like, ha 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 ha, it's cartoony characters getting brutally murdered, ha ha ha. And then I moved on from that. But yeah, I was like, Sega, this was the guy you hired to write Sonic stories? But yeah, so... Anyway, yeah, it was, we're finally moved away from that. For the most part. Now, I'm not saying they're doing a perfect job now. Sonic Frontier still had a bit of a cheesy story. Like, they went a little overboard with making it cheesy. And the dialogue still could use some work, but it was not bad. Yeah, and then, like 2022 was an amazing year for Sonic. 2023 was a decent year. Like, I was just like, man, Sonic has not been this good in a long time. Has not had this good of treatment in a long time. Pardon me, folks, I'm gonna pause it real quick. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. And thankfully, I have definitely upgraded since I started doing Let's Plays and, well, even recording footage for games whenever I talk about them in a video, because yeah, I have never liked this boss. This is one of those bosses where where it's either harder, where it's either like it's gonna be a miracle if I do this without losing any rings. Okay, I almost did that without losing any rings. Almost. I almost beat it without any rings, but of course I had to add that stupid effect where he's like, wow, which only works in certain situations, but like you can accidentally press it a few times and he's like, wow, but of course he goes out of his ball form, and that happened. Anyway, yeah, so I don't remember what I was talking about before, but of course, because this was my first exposure to Sonic, I had no idea originally that this was actually the first boss of the first game. I had no idea about that. So it's a nice little throwback. And this next one is a nice little throwback to the first boss of the second game. Although they didn't have the first boss of the third game. That's okay, though. It would have been a little too much to have like three mini bosses and then, or what are essentially three mini bosses and and the actual main event. Which thankfully you get a checkpoint for this moment. But yeah, so I didn't. But anyway, yeah. Thankfully, I have a thing now where it's like, where I can play, or I mean, I can play these games, and I can, you know, like I can actually pause it, so the recording won't be as long. Because I didn't have that before. There we go. It's like my mind kind of like doesn't register right away what's gonna be the thing, you know. There we go. It's been a while since I've done this without tails. Wait, is he about to do the supersonic thing? Okay. Well. Okay, well. Let's get ready for this. Maybe because I'm so used to having tails, it doesn't, you know, do that normally. I don't know. Well, I didn't expect to do this soon. But I will be using the other characters, so this doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing the other characters. I just thought that that I had to like actually do, like, I know you could do it normally if you have all the Chaos Emeralds, but like I thought that like you had to like you know, this isn't the best supersonic fight, but at least it's not too hard. I mean, some first timers it might be a little hard, but you know, the way you have to get the rings is kind of dumb. Like you either get captured, or if you can break it, then you know. The music's pretty intense. I do like Sonic Advance 2's supersonic thing more. By the way, I do not plan to do Supersonic and Sonic Advance 2 on here because, unless I can find some cheats, I am not collecting all the Chaos Emeralds there. I used an action replay to get them before, and I am not, even with save states, I am not going through with all that, because you have to get every single Chaos Emerald a few days later. No, you have to get every single Chaos Emerald with every single character, and the way you get to the special stages is really dumb. The special stages are kind of fun, but like, it's really dumb. So I'm not doing that. I actually still have yet to play the Supersonic stage in stages in Sonic Advance 3. But anyway, that was Sonic's story in Sonic Advance, the first one. Yeah, I don't know why they decided to do that for Sonic Advance 2. It was probably just an artificial way to extend the game's playtime. And then Sonic pees himself and gets in his eyes and it turns red. I make that joke sometimes. So that was Sonic Advance, at least Sonic's story. But again, like I said, I'll be playing as the other characters too. Yeah, praise Jesus. So this music, it's church music. That's what I've always thought it was, is like church music, like black church music, you know what I mean? Or church music in general, you know. Or like a gospel type of thing, or like a country, you know. Any type of church, I guess. But yeah, so I think it's the piano is what got me to think that, but like just the way it sounds, it makes me think of like church music. I don't exactly know why, but it just seems to be the thing that my mind goes to is church music. Which, I mean, I've been in churches, so I know about church music. Scrap brain power of the... Huh. You know, I bet this is... that music and stuff is probably in the multiplayer. I have played almost none of the multiplayer before. I don't even remember if I have played it at all. But, yeah. Multiplayer is a thing in this game. It's actually a thing in every game. In fact, Sonic Advance 3... in every Sonic Advance game. Sonic Advance 3 emphasizes on multiplayer. I mean, you don't have to, but like they have it to where you can play multiplayer in those games. with the partner system. So yeah, I just felt like playing some Sonic Advance. Took me less than an hour to get through, even with some of my deaths. But it's because I know this game really well. Which is, I think that's why they have other characters available to like actually play through it as well. They were kind of doing that for a while, where you would get through the whole game by playing as the different characters or different sets of characters, depending on what game you play. And you know, so normally right here it would say like go collect all the Chaos Emeralds, and it would show Eggman with like the Master Emerald and all that jazz. I think the emulator crashes if you try the Tiny Chow Garden. I could be wrong. Let's give it a try just to see. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Well, I got plenty of rings, so if I could get something for you, I'm gonna get you a trumpet. Uh-huh. Wait. Yep. Maiden? I didn't name him that. Let's name him, Let's name him... Let's name him... Let's name him. I'm gonna name him after my character, That. There we go. I named him That after my character. And I'm betting you're wanting a square fruit. It goes with the square chow. Which now he's got this. And by the way, this is all completely useless because he won't be able to like transfer into the, you know. Anyway, let's play this. Oh, well, yeah, that was a good move, Daniel. Yeah, that. Boy, howdy, you're doing good right now, Daniel. Danny. By the way, there's a show out now called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Yeah, you didn't give me much of a choice there, so I couldn't really do anything about that. Let's play the other one too. I wasn't planning on doing this, but since I know it works, I just felt like doing it. Just like how I just kind of felt like playing Sonic Advance. I saw where one pair is. This is a nice little break from like the let's see. Was this like right here? No. Alright. Anyway. So yeah, that just kind of felt like playing that. You know, unless I just decide not to, I'll probably play through the other campaigns. I'll play through Tails and Amy's or Knuckles and Amy's and all that stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks. And join me next time, potentially, whenever I play the other ones, or for another game. Whatever I decide to do, I guess. Unless you all beg me to play through it anyway. You know. So, thanks for watching, folks. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, thanks for watching, and have a great day or night.